How's it going there, everybody? It's Mr. Zen over here bringing you guys a brand new Samurai Jack episode discussion. And for today's segment, guys, we're going to be talking about is episode 7. The lucky number 7, folks, because in this episode, folks, Samurai Jack found his way back to being him. Yes, folks, Jack actually had to go towards his own actual path of righteousness to actually get his sword back. Because in this episode, we actually got to take a look at how Jack actually lost his sword, what struggles he had to go through, and it seems that Ashi also had her own time to shine in the episode. That I thought that was actually personally very interesting to see. Ashi actually get some more character development out of her for Jack's sake. That I personally thought Jack and Ashi fighting together is going to be an amazing duo in future episodes, folks. Now, granted though, guys, the episode did begin with Jack actually traversing a huge mountain. In this huge mountain, apparently there was the last portal where Jack actually could go back in time. And Jack is, he's being followed by these 3 little goats, or sheeps, or whatever you want to call it. I'm calling them goats because they're like mountain goats. And they're following because, of course, they want to know what Jack is. Because, he's a righteous guy and animals love him. So he goes up there, finds the portal, and it seems that this portal was, apparently, I think the portal was like a homage to the goats themselves, or apparently, because there was like pictures and monuments of like the goats' heads. That was actually, like I said, was pretty interesting. But then from all of a sudden the action and the change of tone of the episode then quickly changes, folks. The reason I say that, folks, is because from there you literally see Aku come out, grab Jack from the time portal, destroys it at the same time. And Aku is just mocking Jack, saying, "Oh, this was the last time portal, so I'm so sorry to hear about that. Oh, wait, no, writhing your own pain." And of course, Aku, the evil person that he is, he's just mocking Jack. And of course, Jack, from there, folks, he loses his actual sense of justice. And by that I mean not just justice, but his sense of coolness, his level-headedness. That's when he starts losing all of that, because Aku then single-handedly actually turns a little ghost that followed Jack and turns him into like these demonic beings. And of course, Jack, he has to kill them but he kills them out of anger though. But that's the thing, that he was clouded by sheer anger, that once he kills these creatures, that of course they turn back into the sheep that they were. And of course they should, while all this is going on, it's just showing blood and mayhem, and Jack, of course, he's losing touch of his own self, and he's just, of course, he's stabbing them with the sword on the top of the forest. So he's basically killing them. One of them falls into the hole where the time portal was, and it just falls deep into the cavern. Like, Jesus, there's just so much going on. Then Jack, of course, then realizes that after that these goats were actually they were the same ghosts that they followed him. It's interesting because Jack then says, "Oh, he gets out of the shroud of misjudgment that he was in, drops the sword, and of course Aku and everything is getting destroyed, drops the sword, and it falls into the cavern itself." And that in itself was very interesting, seeing that Jack lost that. And then he tells Ashi that I've actually looked at it countless times and I could never find it. And then in a sense says that what Jack said was true. The sword left Jack. He didn't lose the sword. No. The sword left Jack. That was interesting, because that means that the sword was a manifestation of purity. And it's because Jack lost his purity in that essence itself. Because remember, guys, that sword, if I remember correctly, it cannot strike down evil. I'm sorry, cannot strike down good. Where was I going with that, huh? No, he cannot strike down any good whatsoever. And of course, killing those sheep, of course, and Jack just lost. He lost it. He lost that sense of purity that he had within it. And of course, the sword was no use of it no more. It literally became a regular Japanese sword. And that in itself made it interesting, that I thought that, okay, all the symbolism that's involved with that, with Jack. And that's what, then Jack gets his own little arc in the episode that I personally thought was interesting. He gets a tea time. Back. Well, of course, he's trying to find a sword, and he's trying to talk to the gods, Rama, Ra, and Odin. He's trying to talk to them so they can forge in the sword, but instead they give him another test. They give him a test to show him what is wrong with Jack. And that's what I kind of find interesting, is because of that Jack has to learn to balance himself. He needs to learn how to balance the anger that's bottled up within him, that it was actually taken over. And seeing that conflict within Jack was actually interesting, because you see the inner dialogue brought outside, and you see that Jack actually says, no, you may have been saving me, but at the same time, you have been you've been making me make these rash decisions that are affecting my livelihood and my mission. That of course that he's now starting to get sidetracked. That all this anger that's been bottled up is now just taking the manifestation into the real world. And it's not Jack's fault in a sense. I mean, he's human at the end of the day. He needs to be angry. Even the most righteous person has their own dark days, and that's what I kind of found that Jack was embodying. That was because, if I remember correctly, I believe in one of the previous seasons they actually brought upon that Jack's own anger was actually manifested. But in this episode, it seems more like he needed to be aware that you're not aware that you're actually you're causing all this havoc towards yourself, not necessarily to others. It's more to yourself. So by doing that tea time, you can tell that Buddhist or that monk that was actually talking to him is like, you need to learn to balance. He keeps telling him that because Jack just succumbs to his anger too quickly. He needs to learn to be patient. He needs to learn to actually take things nice and slower now, because of course, Jack lost everything. After losing the time pour, of course, after a while, you can be like, wait a minute, how do I get home? Of course, all these thoughts are racing. So, like I said, it brings back to Jack's own rationality. He's still human at the end of the day. He may be this strong warrior, but he still has the right to be angry. But like I said, it's because he has a mission to uphold. That's what makes him actually a more interesting character. That he has to learn to overcome that. Seeing all these trials that Jack goes through is actually always interesting too. At the same time, because you're noticing that Jack is overcoming not only evil itself, but he's also overcoming himself to be a better person. That's what I always find interesting about Jack's character development. Now that is pretty cool, guys. Now I do want to talk about Ashi in this episode, guys. Ashi had her own actual character development, and that was actually interesting because, wow, Ashi, she actually fought against the whole entire army barehanded and destroyed it all. Granted, though, that was actually pretty interesting, but I like how a lot of people that were saying in the community that, she just single-handedly smacked the whole army down with just one person. I mean, yes, it's a cartoon, we get it, but I mean, come on. Ashi's a pretty wonderful woman in this series itself. Seeing Ashi's, you could say, ideals now come into fruition because she wants to save Jack. She's seen the error of her own ways. And seeing seeing Ashi's mother come in, and you see her actually trying to kill Jack in the episode. That was interesting because I was not expecting her as a character coming out of nowhere, which I thought to myself, like, how did she know where Jack was? How did all these characters know where Jack was at this mountain? It made me interested. So maybe Aku might have seen it, or maybe they had some kind of messenger bird. I'm not too sure. Or maybe they've been following Jack for the whole time, but they didn't really explain. But like I said, that was the little part that kind of didn't really make any sense to me. But moving on, yes, seeing freaking Ashi kill her own mother, that was kind of breathtaking right there. Breathtaking as I mean, like, wow, we actually got to see this. Like, wow. And honestly, I'm kind of in shock more is the fact that that the mother literally died trying to kill, like, her own ambition literally killed her. And it's funny because Ashi even was pointed out in the episode that, Jack didn't kill the sisters. The sisters, they came into a world because of this cult, this upbringing that they were brought upon. Technically, it was that mother's own fault by making them only just live as warriors, and of course, then death is inescapable for them. They basically set their own tombstones, just like how Ashi stated, and I thought that was interesting because Ashi made a point that they could have lived different lives. They didn't have to go kill Jack. They could have done something else with their lives. That I thought that might have been pretty interesting in itself. Interesting enough though, Ashi did make a powerful stand, and she said, and like I said, seeing her help Jack in so many ways, and seeing how a pivotal character is, I could see that they're probably might bring up a romantic relationship later in the series. That might be interesting whatsoever. But needless to say though, Ashi, wow, damn, that fight itself was intense. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Seeing the arrow just jabbed right into her mother was just, whew, and then she falls to her doom. That scene right there was just that intense, folks. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie to just seeing that. But needless to say, that's it for today's 7, folks. Let me know down in the comments below, guys, as to what you guys' thoughts on the anime episode. So episode 7 of Samurai Jack. done beautiful. And which, by the way, guys, Jack got a clean-shaven haircut by the gods himself. A special privilege only Jack can get. Now, that was pretty intense. But let me know down in the comments, guys, what you guys' thoughts on the episode itself. And as always, guys, if you guys enjoy my content, don't forget to give a like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Samurai Jack episode discussions. And as always, hope to see you guys in the next video. But this is Mr. Zen, signing out.